Once I gathered with my close circle of friends at my house and threw a small party. One of my friends suggested playing Truth or Dare. We thought it would be fun, so we agreed and started playing. After about an hour of doing so many disgusting things, I decided it was my turn to choose Truth. My close male friend, knowing the answer, asked me if I had ever cheated on my girlfriend. Not wanting to lie to him, I answered yes. The bad part was that my girlfriend was also part of the game. She stood up, slapped me hard, and left the house. Afterwards, my close friend and I got into a fistfight over why he asked me such a question. Years have passed, and I have long since forgotten that girl, but my friend remains my closest friend to this day. When I first started my career, I was working at a travel agency. Since it was my first job experience, I stupidly stole an amount of $100 from the store's cash register. I hadn't told anyone about this incident, but before I could even spend a penny of the money, my boss noticed the cash was missing. My coworker, who was always trying to get me fired, mentioned to someone on the phone that he had received a $100 tip from another job. After my boss heard this, he immediately started talking to him and, thinking he was guilty, fired him, although I regretted taking the money.
In my first year of high school, I was staying at a boarding school. One day, our school librarian called me over and asked if I could walk her dog because she had injured her leg. I agreed to help. I was having trouble controlling the large dog on campus, so I decided to walk him in the campus woods to avoid any incidents. While we were walking in the woods, the dog suddenly stopped and started sniffing the air, then broke free from my grip and ran off. I immediately started chasing after him. Shortly after, I heard a scream and thought the dog had bitten someone. When I reached the dog, I found the librarian with a man, both half-dressed and trying to put their clothes on. Shortly after, teachers and students who saw me lose control of the dog arrived at the scene, and everyone witnessed the incident. Following this event, the teacher was expelled from the school. One night, a drunk man called my ex-wife to ask her out on a date. We couldn't understand what kind of date he was talking about. My wife started yelling at him, asking where he got the number, and the man hung up. When we received multiple calls that same night, we realized something was wrong. I told my wife she should speak kindly to the callers so we could figure out the source of the calls. Finally, one man began to confess. They had written the number in a shabby bar's restroom as a way to have a good time. We asked the drunk man to erase it, and he agreed. About a week later, my wife received another call from a drunk man. She asked him where he got the number. This time, the man said someone he met at the bar gave him a piece of paper with the number, saying, "If you want to have a good night, call this number." When we asked for a description of the person, it turned out to be none other than my wife's ex-boyfriend. I called her ex and told him that if he didn't stop this, we would report him to the police. He hung up the phone, crying and apologizing. The interesting part is that those two idiots are now dating again. I feel like a fool.
Despite being 27 years old, everyone in my family still thinks that I am either gay or have some other illness because I haven't had a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend with whom I was serious from the beginning of high school until the end of university. I never told anyone in my family about this relationship. My girlfriend committed suicide about 4 years ago. After this incident, I was devastated and stopped being interested in girls. Additionally, I never told anyone, including my family, about this event. Since my family thinks I am gay, they took me to a psychologist.
I met a girl on Instagram, and we flirted for about 3 months. 2 weeks ago, she suggested we go on a vacation together, and I immediately agreed. She sent me a link to a villa with a garden in Fethiye, and I called to reserve it. We agreed on €2,000 for a week. When we arrived, I paid cash at a shop directed by the villa owner and got the keys. We had a great vacation and came back. The day after, the girl said she didn't want to talk anymore and blocked me right away. I had a gut feeling and decided to investigate the situation this week. It turns out she had rented the villa for €1,000 per month. She's been doing this all season, renting out the place weekly for €2,000 through someone else, enjoying vacations, making money, and getting shopping done. I was so embarrassed I couldn't tell anyone. What do you think I should do? I went to deliver a pizza, and a girl opened the door and took the pizza. She handed me the money, but as I was about to take it, she pulled it back and asked me to tell her she was beautiful. I was surprised, but I told her she was very beautiful. Then she gave me the money and pulled me inside by my arm. Everything happened so suddenly, and things escalated quickly. The strange part is that we never saw each other again, and it was my most interesting delivery ever. One time, I delivered a pizza to a gang house. On the porch, there were people with tattoos and bandanas wearing the same colored clothes. As I walked towards the door, the people on the porch stared at me, and I stared back because I thought they were the ones who ordered the pizza. One of them said, "What are you looking at?" I realized they weren't the ones who ordered the pizza and immediately knocked on the door. A large man with many scars on his face opened the door. The total order was around $70, and he handed me $100 and loudly said, "Get lost." My legs were shaking as I got into my car and quickly drove away from there.
The product arrived with no issues, but I wasn't aware that there would be a gift included, as it wasn't mentioned in the details. The gift I received was a packet of crackers. There was nothing written on the packaging. While working at my computer, I started eating them little by little and got halfway through. Then I began to feel sick. It turns out what I ate wasn't crackers, but dog food. I'm sure no one expects to receive dog food as a gift with a projector or even a gift at all. Since there was no indication of a gift in the description, I couldn't have anticipated that dog food would come with the product. Mistaking it for crackers, I ate half of it. I just came back from the hospital. This was the most ridiculous and worst online shopping experience I've ever had. I went to an elderly woman's house to fix her plumbing, and inside the house, there were hundreds of automatic air fresheners. Yes, literally hundreds. I had trouble breathing there. Additionally, the house was right next to a shooting range, and we had to stop almost every conversation because of the gunshots. When I asked the woman why there were so many air fresheners, she simply said, "I just like them." I worked there for about an hour amidst those scents. When I got home, I fainted.